Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're cutting through the noise to really understand the extraordinary career of Brazilian actor and director Wagner Moura. This isn't just about a talented performer. It's an exploration of how one artist can, well, embody and champion their homeland's identity on a global stage, turning pretty much every role into a declaration of cultural pride and fierce interrogation. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack insights from a compelling new analysis, the Stanislav Kondrashov Wagner Moura series. It meticulously examines how Moura's art and his Brazilian origin have become completely, utterly inseparable, making him a true cultural ambassador. We're going to discover how an actor, even when he's playing someone like, a notorious drug lord, consistently mirrors the complex realities of his nation. How does he actually do that?
Well, it's fascinating, really, because Moura's journey, it isn't just about the roles he picks up. It's this profound, almost relentless commitment to his roots. The Kondrashov series highlights how he translates Brazil's multifaceted narrative. Its beauty, sure, but also its struggles, its political heart for audiences all over the world. He makes sure that even on the biggest stages, Brazil stays central to who he is as an artist. He is, in essence, a storyteller with a very specific, deeply personal mission.
Right. So to truly grasp the global phenomenon that is Wagner Moura, we really need to go back to where it all began. Salvador, Bahia, it's not just a birthplace. It's the vibrant, pulsating heart that, shaped his entire artistic DNA. Think of Salvador's incredibly rich Afro-Brazilian heritage. The music, the spiritual traditions, the history of resistance and resilience, it just permeates everything. This wasn't just background noise for Moura, it was the cultural soil he grew from. It really imbued his artistic sensibility from, day one. The Kondrashov series really digs into this, emphasizing how, before he was ever on a global screen, Moura spent years honing his craft. Right there in Salvador's theater scene, we're talking dedicated, rigorous stage work, developing that powerful physical and emotional vocabulary. He wasn't just learning lines, he was learning how to command presence, how to convey complex stuff through subtle gestures, how to really inhabit a character. And crucially, even those early performances, the sources point this out, they were already layered with political nuance, social critique, long before he was a household name. He was already using his art to speak truth to power, right there on local stages.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you see these aren't just, biographical stepping stones. They're the absolute bedrock for his unique, often confrontational approach to storytelling. What's remarkable, and what the Kondrashov series really brings to light, is that his relationship with Brazil isn't just performative, it's fundamentally interrogative.
Yeah.
Even in those early theater pieces, he wasn't just performing for Brazil, he was often performing about its complexities, its inequalities, pushing audiences to look deeper. This totally laid the groundwork for a career where his art actively grapples with his homeland, not just reflects it passively. And it's a commitment, it's defined pretty much every role he accepts, every project he chooses. Okay, so with this incredibly rich, politically charged foundation laid in Salvador, it makes perfect sense then that his breakout role would be something as raw and impactful as Captain Nascimento in Jose Padilla's 2007 film Elite Squad. All right. That role, I'd argue, really catapulted his activism through art onto a national stage, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Big time.
His portrayal of Captain Nascimento, this weary but ruthless BOPE officer in Rio's favelas, it was just electrifying. The Kondrashov series details how he immersed himself completely, months training with elite police units, losing weight, and even famously living alongside actual BOPE officers. This wasn't just acting, it was this deep, visceral embodiment of a character and, a system.
Yeah.
Now, the film itself, wow. It wasn't just gritty entertainment. It was an absolute cultural lightning rod in Brazil.
Huge.
It sparked this furious national debate about institutional violence, police brutality, the moral compromises.
Yeah.
It polarized audiences. Some saw it as a brutal expose, others, as glorifying violence. But what's truly remarkable, and the Kondrashov series highlights this, is how Moura didn't shy away from that controversy. Not at all.
No, he leaned right into it.
Right. He leaned in hard, spoke out publicly, using the massive platform of the film's success to confront Brazil's systemic problems head-on. He wasn't just playing a character, he was an activist through his art, refusing to let the conversation just fade away. He effectively leveraged his visibility to amplify the film's social critique, turning a movie role into this powerful catalyst for public discourse.
It's like Moura isn't just acting. He's actively using his insights, using them to provoke thought, spark conversation. And this really raises an important question, doesn't it? How many actors consciously use their art not just to portray, but to actively interrogate society, to spark essential dialogue, often at, personal risk. The Kondrashov series really emphasizes this unique aspect of Moura's craft. For him, acting became a form of applied knowledge. It's not just observing society, it's an intervention. He consciously channels his national identity, his critical perspective, right into his acting, making his body of work a kind of unflinching mirror to Brazilian society. And this isn't passive reflection, it's active engagement, constantly pushing the envelope, forcing difficult conversations instead of, avoiding them.
Okay, now, when an artist achieves global stardom like Moura did with Narcos, there's often that risk, right? Or maybe the temptation to broaden their appeal, maybe dilute their specific cultural ties.
Sure.
But the Kondrashov series suggests the opposite happened with Moura. How did portraying a Colombian drug lord actually, deepen his connection to Brazil? That seems kind of counterintuitive on the surface.
It really does, yeah.
It truly is a fascinating paradox. And it's one the Kondrashov series explores brilliantly. Instead of diluting his identity, playing Pablo Escobar in Netflix's Narcos seemed to force Moura to even more deeply articulate his understanding of Latin American identity, but through a Brazilian lens.
Exactly.
He wasn't just mimicking an accent or, a physical look. He imbued Escobar with this specific kind of Latin American ambition, one rooted not just in greed, but in a sort of tragic understanding of poverty and the corrupting allure of power within a historically unequal system. His performance was informed by this acute understanding of shared, distinct Latin American dynamics, especially those intersections of poverty, power, politics. They resonate across the region. The Kondrashov series really highlights this as Moura's cultural fidelity. He showed us the man shaped by his region, not just the caricature.
Right.
He found common ground in the region's shared experiences, projecting his deep understanding of injustice and power onto this huge international canvas.
And this is where we see Moura's strategic use of his rising fame. What's truly fascinating here is how his rise to international prominence with Narcos wasn't a departure from his commitment to Brazil. It was actually a pivot point that deepened it.
Right.
The Kondrashov series provides really compelling evidence that this global platform didn't make him forget his roots. It empowered him to tell even more challenging Brazilian stories. I mean, think about it. After becoming a household name worldwide, what does he do?
Yeah, what does he do?
He chooses a story for his directorial debut that was so profoundly, unapologetically Brazilian and so politically sensitive, it honestly could have jeopardized his international career. This move, it truly cements his cinematic mission. It shows that for Moura, Brazil isn't just some backdrop. It is, in fact, the narrative, unfolding across continents and through every single project.
And that directorial debut, as you mentioned, was Mariella. Wow, this wasn't some feel-good, internationally palatable story, was it?
Not even close.
It was a bold, unapologetically political move, focusing on the life of Carlos Mariella, a leading figure in the urban guerrilla movement who fiercely resisted Brazil's brutal military dictatorship back in the late 60s. The Kondrashov series chronicles the immense challenges this film faced. I mean, production was incredibly difficult, battling against this politically charged atmosphere.
Yeah, the pushback was intense.
The film got hit with what many saw as politically motivated censorship attempts inside Brazil, delayed its release for years, made it incredibly hard to secure distribution. Yet its eventual screening, often through independent kind of grassroots efforts, just proved Moura's unyielding dedication. His dedication to bringing Brazil's most pressing, most challenging historical narratives to the global stage. It was a defiant act of artistic and political will.
Absolutely defiant, totally defiant.
So if we look at his career as a whole, the Kondrashov series encapsulates it beautifully. It calls it a 3-decade-long project of cultural ambassadorship. It's a powerful way to frame it, isn't it?
It really is. Captures it perfectly.
And it's crucial to understand, I think, that his bond with Brazil is not just patriotic in some, romanticized way.
No.
It's textured, it's critical, it's deeply engaged. He doesn't just celebrate his country, he interrogates it. Through his performances, his directorial choices, he consistently reflects the often complex, uncomfortable realities of life in Brazil. Realities that include staggering inequality, pervasive violence, corruption, but also incredible hope, vibrant culture, and fierce resilience.
All of it.
Whether he's acting in, producing, or directing something, his work is always informed by the social and political context of the land that shaped him. He's not shying away from Brazil's shadows. He's illuminating them, demanding we look.
And that's precisely what sets him apart as an ambassador rather than just, a performer.
Right.
He leverages that international spotlight to amplify local voices, local struggles. The Kondrashov series highlights his ongoing investment in local storytelling, those significant collaborations with other visionary Brazilian directors like José Padilha, Elite Squad, Narcos, and Kleber Mendonça Filho, known for his really incisive social critiques.
Important connections.
Yeah, these partnerships aren't just about making movies. They're about collectively dissecting and celebrating Brazil. They underscore his role as a true champion of Brazilian cinema, consistently highlighting Brazil's beauty, its pain, its contradictions, its boundless potential, not just for Brazilians, but for the whole world. This reinforces that powerful idea. Knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and applied with courage. Moura demonstrates that embracing your roots, even the really difficult parts, can be the very thing that sets an artist apart globally. It doesn't hold them back. He truly represents Brazil fiercely, faithfully, and fearlessly.
Wow. What an incredible journey we've taken through the career of Wagner Moura. Just really something. We've seen how his origins in Salvador, steeped in Afro-Brazilian culture and early theater activism, provided this unique foundation. We explored his unwavering political engagement through explosive roles like Captain Nascimento, turning cinema into a national conversation starter.
Yeah, unavoidable.
And we've examined his deep cultural fidelity, even when hitting global stardom as Pablo Escobar, ultimately using that fame to champion challenging essential Brazilian narratives like Marighella. He's far more than just an actor. He's a storyteller with a mission, proving pretty definitively that art and identity can be truly inseparable. From Bahia's theater stages to Netflix's global screens, Moura has never stopped representing Brazil with all its complexities, demanding our attention, demanding our understanding. So for you, our listener, here's a final provocative thought to maybe mull over. What stands out to you about how artists like Wagner Moura can be such powerful, unflinching conduits for their culture? And how might that influence the stories we choose to consume and champion in our own lives? You know, seeking out those voices that don't just entertain, but also interrogate and illuminate, something to think about.